All right. So we're gonna call a meeting to order,
There we go.
October 22nd at 6 PM, the Budget Committee. Roll call?
Drew Carter.
Priscilla Terry.
Elizabeth Varney?
Christy Wood.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
It's gotta be green. The light.
Let's push the button.
Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Old business.
Yes. I had, excuse me, I had asked Drew if you could get me a list of things that the selectmen spent money on after in January,
encumbrances.
encumbrances, the extra money that you had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't recall that, but
It's all right. I did that.
Okay, good.
Do you have it?
There are none. We did not encumber any money this year. There was no encumbrances into 2025.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, the other thing on, yes, go into new business. Start with the review of the 2026 budgets, and our first one up is assessing.
Good evening. We'll start out with the assessing budget. The budgets that I have on the agenda tonight were the ones that the Board of Selectmen had gone through. These are relatively pretty straightforward. I tried to pick the smaller budgets to go through right now so that you had time to digest some of the bigger ones that, million plus. Like police, fire, and DPW will be big nights. Anyway, hopefully you had a chance to look at some of this. On the table, there was this is a current expenditure sheet for every budget. So you can look down to corresponding to the assessing budget. And this will tell you what the year-to-date expended is, the middle column. So that shows you what's expended. I do want to preface, some of you were here over the years and some of you are new, but in going into these budgets, when we talk about them, most of the increases you're going to see are wage increases. A lot of that has to do with the 2 years of default being carried forward. Right now, we are paying wages that we do not have covered. So we are using our bottom line budgeting and we're absorbing those wages any way we can, but it's at the cost of services, or programs that we've had to cut, or simply positions we haven't hired. When somebody leaves, we have to leave it open. Good example, you guys were talking about the SRO position, and that came up last meeting. One of the SRO positions is vacant. It's remained vacant because the police department's $40,000 over in their wages. At the beginning of the year, at day one, they were 40 grand in the hole, because of the default. So, and the only way that the police department could absorb it at that point in time was through services or positions. And, the SRO position, became vacant and they couldn't afford to hire it out. So, and that, again, that's one example. Highway is doing it with 3 positions right now. We haven't had a mechanic for 2 years, because we can't. Right now, they can't afford to pay the rates because they're trying to cover the rates of the actual employees we still have employed. So there's, to keep that in mind, the 2 years default, moving forward, because you'll see programs and you'll see lines that we lined out to $1. And that's because we got away with those positions 2 years ago, but it's still reflecting a wage because default goes back to what the previous budget was. So anyway, starting with assessing and going in, you'll see on line 1 is the full-time wages. That that increase reflects, the wage changes from the current rate that is being paid today, plus 4% that was approved by the Board of Selectmen as a merit increase. You have the assessing secretary and you have the assessor himself that are covered out of that line. The part-time line, there's nothing. Overtime's nothing, benefit buyouts, nothing. Meetings and conferences, they reduced that down, to reduce the line a little bit. They still have a few courses, but they're minimizing any sort of out of area or, yes, sir.
So where is the request for 26 here? I don't see the request. I see 2025 budget, then it says department head.
It's the selectmen. The department head,
So is it-
the selectmen's budget is what they approved Tuesday night.
So it's the one in the middle.
The one in the middle is under selectmen.
So, so if I put 2026 there, that's okay. All right. That's what I wanted to know. All right. Thank you.
So then dues and fees, was level funded at 302. Travel is level funded at $1. Office supplies, that one went up, and a lot of that had to do with copying charges. Ink cartridges went up, excessively, not to mention the amount of notices. We're going into a reval year coming up, so that's gonna require a lot more mailings. Postage, they did reduce that, a little bit just based on current expenditures. Reference materials lined out at $1. Copy machine is lined out at 1,500, or I should say level funded at 1,500. Forestry expenses, they had a reduction of $250. Deed and title work or search is level funded at 4,500. Printing signs.
Yeah, just to clarify, $45.
$45, I'm sorry. Yeah, that would have made a difference. Printing and signs, level funded at $1. Advertising, level funded at $1. Contracted services, this did go up, and that's a matter of the increased services and pickups. A lot of this was, some of this was shifted from the full-time wages, based on some constraints in the assessing department.
And we're doing the reevaluations as well.
Right. The reeval is picking up. There will be some additional costs for the reval, that, an absorbent amount of cost, but that is being pulled into a separate warrant article too. But the contracted services from Whitley Consulting, they are the ones that help perform the, total town reval.
But
I'm sorry.
the justification shows it at 23,450.
No, so that's current. The first line is current. That's 25's budget. So the proposal for 26 is 32,850. So, and, I do understand that for those of you that have been around a little bit, this is a new software. You haven't seen these kind of justification sheets before.
Yeah.
We changed and BMSI went out. They sold out like everything else. So our BMSI software sold out. We went into a new finance software for payroll and AP. And this is a result of that new formatting and software that we went into. Then the map updating, that is up 5,000 because we are beginning a map up. Those are tax map updates that we're required to do.
The question, how often is that?
How often?
The map updating, is it every?
So my understanding is that we do continual updates. It's not like a mass update.
Yeah.
But we've been absorbing that, and all the funds that we had set aside for that have all been depleted now. So, and the amount, over the last 2 years, the amount of building and development, especially subdivisions, because that's the creation of new lots.
Sure, yeah.
That requires a lot more than a minor update. We have to redo maps and regions, based on larger subdivisions and lots that are broken up. So, but there isn't, it's not like a revow where that's every 5 years.
Right.
The map updating is continuous.
Okay.
It's just a matter of the volume changes based on development, building activities, which we all know has gone through the roof here.
Are any of the costs for that map updating captured in fees through planning department? Or could they be?
Currently, I don't know that they are being captured, those kind of fees. I think that would be, because I don't think, we don't really have any impact fees. And I think that would, I mean, I could do some more research on that for sure, but currently I don't think that any of that's associated with that. The fees that are being paid as far as application fees, I'm assuming is where you're going with that.
Right.
Mainly cover the services that have to be provided, like with outside engineering review and all that. That's being absorbed through that. I can't see that there's a lot left over that can be absorbed otherwise. But I will say that those fees are all going back in as revenue, so it's not like a one-for-one offset. So if there is any money left over from those fees, it's actually going into the same pool. So it does help offset the tax rate in the end, based on revenues. But we could certainly look at, I mean, at some point down the road, I'm sure that that's going to be considered again at the planning level with the planning board. And maybe possibly through the ZAC committee as to what the town wants to do with, based on impacts, based on development impact. Vehicle maintenance is is level funded at 250. Vehicle fuel is level funded at 400. And that concludes the assessing budget. So the difference is currently it's budgeted in the default, we are at 151,644. The selectmen's proposed amount is 176,386.
I got a question, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Postage, you said, correct me if I'm wrong, that the budget this year was 173 and it's gonna go down to 150?
Yes.
But according to you guys they've overspent it. The budget this year was 173 and they've spent 396.46. How could it go down to 150, Mr. Selectman?
Let me,
I mean, I'm up for the lower number, but if
Sure,
they-
I get what
if
you're
they've
saying.
spent 400 already,
I think my understanding is with this, when it was presented, is that,
and there's a revaluation, so that line should probably go up, shouldn't it?
I mean, I think. So this is routine, in the justification, they're talking about routine mailing, a routine mail. The mass mailers and stuff, I believe they're absorbing some of that cost out of office supplies. What's that? Okay, the ones that are specific to the reval are gonna go into the warrant article. The warrant article is gonna include $110,000 for
They've
the
already
reval.
spent almost 400 this year, just in postage, routine postage, right? According to this expenditure.
According to this, that's what their current expenditures are right now. He's not anticipating that he's gonna have that much routine mail, that most of it's gonna come from the reval. Because this year they did pickups. Those pickups aren't gonna be the same because they're gonna do a statewide reval. But that was the proposal that was brought forth from the assessor. So he's feeling confident that
Okay.
he's gonna be able to hold those numbers.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
straightforward. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions about assessing? Want to move on to audiovisual?
Do we vote on each budget individually or?
Yeah, if you choose to do so.
You want to do them tonight, or do you want to wait and do them later? It's up to you guys. You want to make a motion?
And it's not set in stone. We can always come back to it later, like we did last year.
Yep.
Mhm.
But just to say that we're good with this and we can put it to
Move
bed
on.
for now.
And I make a motion that we approve the 2026 assessing budget as stated, as indicated, 132,879.
No, it's not.
That's not correct?
Of the 176,
170
right here, 176, 386. Okay,
76,386.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that amount.
Second. Second.
second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right.
All right.
Go on to audiovisual.
Audiovisual.
This one ought to be pretty easy. So audiovisual is just a single line that we have for audiovisual equipment. It's mainly the production of our meetings. Doesn't matter what meeting room. We do have equipment down in the Heike room. We hope to have the Heike room back up and running here pretty soon. That's been under construction for a little while with the new filing systems. But when that $2,000 is just being utilized to maintain, updating the charging battery packets for the microphones, if cameras go down, mics go down, it's just replacement parts and any sort of service that we need to do. This system is fairly new, but we do have service that's done on it. There's a rack in the back with all the components and equalizing systems for these mics and everything else. And every once in a while, they need a little TLC. So this budget and this line is level funded at $2,000, and that's really what we don't really utilize more than that. It's usually camera replacements, burnout parts, and repairs. We don't have any specific purchases planned. This is more of a maintenance and replacement as needed line.
Was that line in this year?
Nope.
No, it's not in this year's, but, okay.
No, it is. No, it's in this year's. It's always been in.
I don't remember.
Yeah, this isn't a new one.
What page is that on?
4199. It's not in here.
Not,
No, it's just a little line item on page.
it is in here, right here, under audio.
You're right. Wrong one down.
It's what page is it on here? Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve 4199 audiovisual meeting equipment for $2,000.
No, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can there be discussion at this point? It looks like we only, to date, spent $470.
Yeah, we haven't had that many repairs or needs right now. I do have one more maintenance call scheduled right now for this system. And that's what made me think of the equalizers. They haven't scheduled, they'll be out this month sometime. I don't know what that's gonna cost, but we don't always spend that amount. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Like I said, it's a sort of an as-needed thing. But I will tell you that the money we're not spending right now in the default, we're absorbing to cover other areas.
So hypothetically, if we had $1,530 remaining at the end of the year, then for 26, we're dumping more, or we're dumping another 2,000 in. That amount is gonna grow.
No. So what happens at the end of the year? So this whole thing is a bottom line budgeting system, meaning that we approve individual budgets, but ultimately the funding is based on the bottom line. And the reason for that is that if one area is underspent, it can be used to cover another area. But by law, the town can't expend more than what the bottom line is. That's what they mean by bottom line budgeting. So meaning that the Board of Selectmen and staff within constraints have the ability to expend funds based on their bottom line. So department heads have the ability to expend between their lines up to the bottom line. Of course, within there, they have capping limits at $2,500. Anything larger than that has to go, or anything over 500 has to buy approval. Anything over 5 grand goes to the board. So then my job is to oversee the entire expenditures to the bottom line, again, with the board's oversight and approvals along the way. The way that it works, basically, in this essence, especially in a default situation, is we are underspending other lines on purpose. We're cutting services, or we're doing without to cover the necessities to keep the town running. So that's how it's working. So there are lines in here, you'll see, like I said, we're not hiring out positions. There'll be money left in benefits, there'll be money left in retirement. And the reality of it is it's all gonna be expended at the bottom, at the end, because it's gonna cover wages that aren't being covered right now in the default. But the reason we do line items like this and we go through this is transparency in budgeting. So that we have a goal. This is basically our goal, to hit these marks. We may have to shuffle it around to get through the year, but in all, all good, good foot forward, we're trying to show that these are the expenditures and this is what we anticipate that we will spend on each item. But nothing, it doesn't carry over, because once we go, everything goes back to zero. If there's anything left, it goes to the fund balance. But the fund balance can't be spent by the Board of Selectmen or staff. The fund balance only can be spent through a vote at town meeting.
Is that the money that exists, but it doesn't exist?
It exists, but it doesn't exist. It's
not
based
real.
on the fund balance is based on the town's credit. Basically, your promise. It's sort of the difference, the value of the town. And I'm not even gonna try to explain it further than that, but if you want an explanation, again, I'll have Laura do it, because she has rehearsed it inside and out. But I was as confused as Greg was the first time I heard that. You mean it's not a real account? You mean there's not money in there?
Yeah. It's like Fort Knox.
Yeah, it is.
There's
Yeah.
nothing there.
Well, social
But
security.
the fund balance is just shy of 6 million right now. Close. 5.7? You have an exact number? Okay.
It's a real head scratcher.
Okay, do we want to,
Have we voted on that one?
oh, 5.1, I thought it was 6.
Have we voted on audiovisual yet?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
Okay. And then we're on the budget tonight?
Budget committee?
Yep, I'm on the budget committee.
Well, you folks can change
just-
that any way you want it.
Stays the same.
Yeah, I level funded it when I put this submission in, because we hadn't really met, and we didn't have a chair at that point, because usually the chair kind of oversees what it is, but I didn't necessarily think that there was any need for any changes right now, because we were going to try out or go back to having a budget committee secretary.
So do we have enough money for the transcriber?
Yep. Yep, that's all arranged and taken care of.
Make a motion, we approve 3201 for budget committee?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The conservation.
Right, so Conservation, a few changes that they presented this year. First one, obviously, is, the Conservation Commission has a full-time, conservation secretary. I shouldn't say full-time, assigned, part-time, conservation secretary that does the same things that Carol is providing for you folks. Except, she is a little more involved in, their record keeping and their keeping of a lot of the properties that they oversee and are stewards to. So this position has been long established, but, so the increase here, represents, the pay increase for the employee, who holds that position. Overtime there's a reduction in the overtime request because they don't really need that much overtime. I mean, the wages, or I should say this, the part-time wages cover. Yes, sir.
Can I open up just a little can of worms?
Sure.
Sorry. So, Drew, did the selectmen go for a 4% rate increase for everybody?
We haven't finished going through all the departments
But
yet.
that's what you started with?
That's the standard, yes.
Why don't we put the same percent as the government gives us for Social Security?
Say that again?
Why doesn't the town give the same percent as the government gives people who collect Social Security? If it's good enough for us old people.
I don't even
I don't know what is
know
that?
how to respond to that.
Well, it's.
When you're collecting Social Security, you are somewhat of a captive audience. It's not like you're going to go find your Social Security somewhere else. Where an employee with the town certainly has the opportunity to say, see ya, I'm going to go find another job.
Okay.
So it's my understanding in the past, that the town has normally done is done COLA, which is the percentage, on top of the merit, which is up to 4 or 5%. This year, they opted to bypass COLA, and they did only the merit, flat 4%. That was it. So instead of the normal 7 or 8 or whatever it was, there's this like half.
Yeah, it's only merit. They didn't, improve any cost of living. And the employees haven't gotten a raise in 2 years, so, that 4% is spread over the last 2 years of default. So, bottom line is we're already short like 9 positions. And we're not filling them. The reality of it is we go to default again, there's gonna be a mass exodus, and the town is gonna experience changes that they have never experienced before, with departments closing down. We just lost our, cat in the building secretary just resigned. Last day was yesterday. So now when you go to the building department, you don't have anybody that's gonna turn that. I went down there today and there was a bell. It says, ring the bell for service. I hate to say it, but I mean, that's the reality of it. We got the assessing secretary, and planning trying to piggyback. And we've had the posting out for 3 weeks and I haven't gotten an application yet. Like I said, we've had a mechanic's position posted for a year and a half and haven't found a mechanic who's willing to work for the town. We've done interviews and everyone who has been qualified has asked for at least $10 more than the town is willing to
Really?
offer.
What's the town offering?
For our mechanic, that one 32 or 28? 28? Yeah, so he went to, yeah. So.
I know in the private sector, a decent heavy equipment mechanic is demanding 48
50
to 60 bucks an hour.
Yeah, and that's a good point, is that it's not just, obviously you probably knew that if it was DPD, that it's not just a mechanic, it's a heavy equipment diesel mechanic. And, it's hard to, we're struggling with that position for sure.
If we default 3 years in a row, I think we might make national news.
I think so too. We're gonna put out as
Just-
much I mean, we're determined to put out as much information as we can to the taxpayers, to push this. I know the board is committed to doing the very best that they can to put the best proposal forward, not to mention, sitting down, and we haven't established a number yet, but I know the board is gonna be looking to use some of that fund balance to offset the increase as well. Because if we do it that way this year, it doesn't slingshot next year because we're in a reval year. So if we pay down with the fund balance, we have to come back up with that next year. It's not like it just carries forward, or else the tax rate goes like this. Because you're not raising that money through taxation, but on a reval year, the evaluations equalize with the market and it offsets that. So that we're trying to, the timing worked out well, that it will work out better for the taxpayer because we're trying not to create those highs and lows in the tax rate. More of a steady flow.
So if everyone across the board, the proposal is that everyone across the board gets a 4% increase.
That's me, right?
What's the,
Can you speak up? I'm sorry, I can't hear
if
you.
every, across the board, it's proposed that everyone gets a 4% increase. What's the incentive then to go above and beyond?
Isn't the point of the merit that it's not necessarily 4%?
Yeah, right, it's merit-based. So they,
so
yeah,
that-
so they get a max of 4%. And
Okay,
most
so-
employees, I mean, obviously, if they're still employed with us, most of them are doing well. And they rate that. We have a rating scale, on our standardized evaluation. We have one for supervisors, we have one for staff. And each department head is required to submit those merit evaluations, at the beginning of the year before voting and all that. And they come up through and they go through a vetting process in their departments. And then they come up to my office and we go through them. Yeah, so there is an incentive because you can be docked. So there are, if an employee is struggling, the employee, can be docked for that year. So there is a great incentive. But also probational employees do not qualify for merit. So if you're still on probation, that's separate under the personnel policy. Because you have to be here for a full year to be able to be evaluated for the merit.
I don't see that the 4%, less than a 4% is being docked. I would think that it would be, you'll get, person X would get, 2 or 3%, and if they go above and beyond, then they'll get 4%. That's how it works.
Well, no, I understand. Yeah, maybe that was a bad choice of words, docked, but basically what it is, you can earn up to 4%. So as hard as you work is what is reflected on those evaluations. But there are some standards on there where you're basically cresting in each category. Is it satisfactory or not? If it's not satisfactory, that's going to trigger another process that shouldn't be. But we don't really have a lot of employees that are at that tier level. The ones that are here and the ones that are working are working hard. And
So most people would basically expect to get the 4%.
most people, I would say most employees would anticipate that their eval will be favorable. Yep, I don't think a lot of them have any indication. There are only a very few ones, and the ones that might be thinking that they may be falling low, that means because they've already had a conversation with the department head before now. Or there's been some sort of communication to that effect, so.
you.
Yep. So going back to conservation, so overtime wages went down because they're not anticipating a strong need for that. Meetings and conferences is level funded at 925, dues and fees level funded at 1,400. Travel, this is a mileage fee, and as you can see under the justification, that this is for, not for staff, but for members and volunteers who run water sampling, containers and kits, under the programs that they administer. And you know, those people are being reimbursed for the use of their personal vehicles, to try to help compensate. These are, a lot of these people are, like I said, volunteers or members of the committee, and they're not receiving any kind of, compensation, but, other than the fact that we're paying some mileage to compensate for their vehicle impact and fuel. General expense is up $400. And really a lot of the times with this stuff is, the easement markers, the forestry markers, they do a lot of trail markings throughout the town. As you know, they're stewards of all of our conservation land and a lot of our recreational, sites. And they use these funds too to help with the signage that either gets damaged, vandalized, or just deteriorates based on weather. The Lay Lake monitoring program, there was an increase in that one from 2,750 to 3,500. And what that is in the justification, they indicated that they have increased testing costs and increased samples that are being required under that program. And the samplings are up to $500 each sampling. So, and then there's, you know, they list out the different things like Half Moon's Lakes, testing efforts, but also the Lake Winnipesaukee Alliance and the Alton Bay Watershed Management Plan.
Do we split the cost of the sampling of Half Moon Lake with Barnstead?
Yes, yeah, there are some joint efforts there. I do know that recently the Lock Lake, or I should say the Half Moon Lake Association president reached out to me, and we've been talking with Seth, our DPW director, because there we're starting the green plowing initiative, which is less salt, sand, more liquid treatment options, which we've already gone to. And a lot of our drivers that are currently driving for us have already completed those courses. The green plowing initiatives is through T-Squared, which is a DPW training site through UNH. Actually, Scott Kidman, our former director, is now teaching that course at UNH. It's called T-Squared. And they teach all sorts. They teach asphalt preservation, the chip sealing programs, all that stuff, all comes out of that T-Squared program. But they also had the Road Scholar program that basically is a leadership tier for DPW directors and foremen and employees to progress within the public works field. So to answer, that's the long version of the answer to your question. Yes, it's a joint, we have joint efforts. Telephone printing, all $1. They don't have a lot of need for that. Advertising, $1. Contracted services is mowing and evasion weed control. That's level funded at $38.50. And easement monitoring is $250. And electric bill, it went down from $200 to $100. And it's a street light at the end of Alton Mountain Road at the trailhead. I think their costs have just gone down because it doesn't utilize a lot of power down there. But that was a street light that the property owner down there that signed the agreement with the town for that trailhead requested because of late night visitors up at the top of Alton Mountain Road. It's pretty dark up there without the street light. So that's the whole thing. The default budget currently is at 22,946. Their selectmen's proposed increase for 26 is to $24,060.
Ryan, how often do they do this lake monitoring and send it in to be tested? Because it looks like they only spent $250 all year so far on that, when they appropriated 2750.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's a quarterly thing. But I don't know when the lab fees come in. I'm not sure if there's more that are pending right now that haven't been paid out. I'm not directly involved in that, other than, I don't know if Laura can recall the bills that are coming in for that off the top of your head. I know you deal with a lot, so.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing about the contracted services.
Yeah.
I mean, they could absorb the wage increase just alone. I mean, of course, if it's not up to date, but they've used $420 out of the 3850 this year. I mean, that would be more than enough to cover the wage increase for the conservation assistant, because that's less than $1,000 increase there, so.
I can tell you that under contracted services, they just recently had somebody go out and do a bunch of invasive plant removal, and I'm pretty sure that that invoice is not in yet.
Okay,
Well, that's right, I forgot, you were on the conservation.
Yeah.
So-
He's a selectman rep to the Conservation Commission, so.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because the other thing I'm seeing is under general expenses, you went from 1,000 to 1,400, but they've only spent 292 out of the 1,000. So are we anticipating an additional for the 400? There's there things that are coming up that,
Yeah, and again, I think that had a lot to do with the signage and the trail markings that have gone neglected for quite a while.
quite a while? Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions?
can we get an update on that, like, once those invoices come in and just see how they're settling out before I mean, we can definitely revisit their numbers again, just
Sure. Do you
before
know
we
when your
approve
next meeting is?
everything.
What's that?
Do you know when your next meeting is?
My next meeting is actually tomorrow night, and I'm not going to be there.
Oh, okay, all right. Let me see if I can, bring back some additional information. I
Oh, we
don't know if we can really wait for everything to settle out, just because we have to, we
Right.
do have, the calendar deadline for some, but,
Yeah.
we can certainly get a better explanation from the chair, Jean. I
On
mean,
what-
Jean.
Yeah,
Well, because they may at least know what's outstanding
Right,
that we
absolutely.
can at
Yeah, we
least
can
have
circle
some
back.
idea.
I mean, obviously, we're not gonna push
Yeah.
everything out, but like, as we come up to the point of, okay, here's the budget, like, can we just circle back and get an updated number on like what they've actually spent this year and compare
Sure.
it to like what they want this year and just see?
Mhm.
You know, if it's warranted, I'm all for it, but if we're able to move some money
Offset,
around
yeah.
there and offset it and make sure that they're still covered, but
Yeah,
shave a little money off, that'd be
Certainly.
great.
no, absolutely. And my,
Okay.
my plan moving forward with your meetings is, the ones that are really close together, like I know we have next week, the weekend, next week is that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, we'll probably use the same expenditure report, because it won't change much.
Sure.
In 7 days. But as we go out and we move forward on, I plan to have an updated one for you at the table.
okay.
When we go, so that you're not looking at outdated expenditures, because I know that's always been a sticking point in reviewing budgets.
Yeah, yeah, where there's, there was a budget there that's, hasn't been utilized quite as much as the others, yeah. Like, only 10%'s been used to date, like. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like this month, it's next month, just, if anything trickles in that gives us a better idea of how much they use this year. So. Make a motion to approve the conservation budget is the number of $24,060.
What was the motion? I'm sorry. Was it to approve it or to table it?
We'll approve it now like we did last year, and then we
can revisit it.
we
if
can
if
revisit
we
it
think we need to.
again before, yeah.
I'll bring back that information, and if you guys decide you want to reopen it and discuss it, that's fine. Or the invoices may show the need, either way.
Okay.
Just
We
make-
have a motion and a second?
Already been done, yeah.
Second. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Emergency management.
Emergency management. So this one's pretty straightforward as well. So what this is, the proposal is to level fund it at $11,003. What that is there's $10,000, which is the big line for preparation and response. The only other money in here, there's a few lines that are held open with $1. And then the only other one is the New Hampshire, grant line with $1,000. So the two reasons is the $10,000 is for any emergency response, for either preparation or response work. With one emergency, $10,000 will go very quickly. We keep that in there, so that we can purchase additional barricades, cones, or pay for supplies in, durations where we're under a natural disaster, like for instance, the last one that everybody remembers is the floods. That was probably a 72-hour ordeal where we had more overtime, more equipment, and more resources used than probably a 6-month period in the town all at once. We were using money for things as simple as pizza for crews that had worked 18, 19 hours straight. Cops and emergency services that were out at the barricades trying to stop cars from going through the area 140 that was washed out and driving off the cliff. So that's the most recent big example that I can give you. But as you know, over the years Alton's seen more than its fair share of emergencies. I don't know why, but it just seems that we always make the news, and not usually in a good light when it comes to natural disasters. The Mother's Day floods. I think I was chief during that time, and we lost like 33 roads that were impassable. That was a crazy day. But between DPW and emergency services, and then the microburst that went through, we've learned that we need to keep some money in this line. Do we use it all the time? No, we don't. And I don't think we've used any of it this year, if you look at it, but I'm definitely not comfortable with zeroing out a line like that, because it's just something. I mean, it's not gonna cover the money that, like the floods, we just recouped $741,000 from FEMA. So this 10 grand didn't do anything besides keep morale up, is really all it was. So.
It's a lot of pizza.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Wow.
saying, but I mean, that's just an idea,
Short-term
we have massive structure fires. A lot of times they'll go out and we'll get hydration, we'll get cases of water, we'll bring stuff in. And the fire department has funds that they will use from time to time, but they'll call me. I'm still the emergency management director, so I control this line. But anytime we have something, it doesn't have to be a declared emergency, but every time we have a long drawn out incident. This is also stuff that we would use if we open the shelter. So warming center, our secondary shelter, our primary has always been the high school. We try not to, activate that unless we really have to, because that is a big ordeal. Activating the school, you have school personnel, you have EMS, we have to staff it with EMS personnel, we have to staff it with a cop, we have to provide separation for pets and also people. There's a lot of shelter requirements. And the other thing is they need to bring food staff workers in for the cafeteria. It's a big cost for them and for us. So I don't open it unless there's a need, meaning that I'm not gonna open it and say it's open, come if you want. We have information on the website, every information out there for people who need assistance to call, because we can't just afford to open it and hope somebody shows up, because we've done that in the past and nobody showed up. Because most people are self-reliant or they have family, you know? So what we utilize primarily most of the time, and it's always available, is Pearson Road. Pearson Road is a good, nice shelter area for a smaller number of people. The school is like a Red Cross shelter. That's like, you know, a tornado touches down, people lose their homes. That's when we set up cots in the gymnasium and people live there. Conference center is great for like the ice storms, the power outages that we have for like 2 or 3 days. You have seniors, some people that don't have generators or heating options. What we do is we fire up the generator at the Pearson Road. We have the TVs there, they have the tables, they have the seniors games. A lot of people from Pearson Road Senior Center will walk up. And last time we had that long power outage, I think I had 6 or 7 of them there. And really, it just became a big slumber party. They were just hanging out, playing games. I got a lot of gossip around town hanging out there, I will tell you that. Most people know a lot about what's going on in town, so. But anyways, that's what this line is all about. And the $1,000 is because we use a lot of grant funding to fund, like we can get generators for buildings, we can get equipment. That trailer that the police department has down there says emergency management on it, all that came through grant funding. And that $1,000 is just a line of placeholder, because a lot of them, there's what they call a matching component. But they'll allow you to do a lot with a soft match, which is basically resources that we put in, time, management to the grants. Sometimes you have to pony up a cash match, like 25% or 50%. But most of the time, like with the trailer and stuff like that, we matched it with a soft match by providing in-house training for staff on the emergency equipment, barricade systems, shelter operations. And we documented all that training, and the time that went into that training offset the grant for all that equipment, so.
A motion that we approve the emergency management budget at $11,003.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next is Gilman Museum.
So the Gilman Museum is basically just a budget that covers the maintenance and upkeep of the museum and the services over there. They don't have any current staff working just under this budget, so there's no wages. Contracted services is one of the bigger expenses, and you see in there a lot of that is the fire alarm monitoring company. And the security company. We do keep regular maintenance on those systems over there. As you know, we do have a lot of valuables in the museum, both on display and even more in the basement that gets rotated out. So if the building went up, there would be a significant loss. So we try to do what we can to make sure we protect those items. That's why a lot of it, they have, you know, not that we don't protect the rest of the buildings in town, but there's a lot of cost in the contracted services. Museum maintenance, that's for displays, lights, things like that. Most of this is all level funded, property insurance for just particularly the umbrella for that building and its contents. Electricity, obviously just for the electrical usage in there, heating, fuel is still level funded. The water bills to the water department. Building expense. So as you can see at the bottom line, we currently in the default have $8,087 to maintain that building. The proposal is only $8,444. So a little less than you know, like a $350 increase.
Make a motion, $8,444 for Gilman Museum.
I'll second the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Folks, just to let you know too, I know that these microphones, you can move anywhere you want. So if, instead of trying to lean,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to pull it closer to you, you feel free to do so. I just wanted to mention that so you weren't uncomfortable trying to lean forward every time you're going to talk.
Right. Next up is household hazardous waste.
So this budget, you'll see it's one line for the household hazardous waste program. It is level funded at $27,568. We have recently gone through some changes in this program, some very unfortunate ones. The program was a co-sponsored program between Wolfboro and Alton for close to 20 years. It's been successful, but unfortunately, we had a tragic death, and our longtime 20-plus year director passed away suddenly, Sarah Silt. And with her loss, a lot of the institutional knowledge that went along with that program and the grants through DES, which are very comprehensive, the, you know, pollution grants and waste management, they're very time consuming for a small reward at the end. But she had them locked down, and once that happened, she was kind of the glue that held the program together. So that program, we separated with Wolfboro. They didn't really want to carry the program on, and we didn't have another director. Sarah ran our program for such a long time, but she was technically an employee of Wolfboro. We paid her part-time through our portions. So Wolfboro didn't really want to continue with it, and Wolfboro is the one that actually has the physical site, the, where they do all their collections there, but they would take some of the stuff and take small quantity generator collections up there. So what we did is the board decided we transitioned and went to the Lakes Region Household Hazardous Waste Program. We joined them. They run the program through Lakes Region Planning Commission. So we became, once again, a member of the Planning Commission, and joined their regional. The benefit to that is they still hold household hazardous waste collections here in Alton, but as a member, any one of our residents at no cost can go to any other the collection site in the Lakes region. So it opens it up to, like, I think it's a total of, I think there's 14 or 15 collections throughout the entire season. They don't do them through the winter months, but. So that's why it's level funded. We believe with these funds that we can maintain our membership costs into those programs. There are some ancillary costs like dumpsters and collection materials for the time of collections that we end up being charged for, but the bulk of it is all paid through our memberships.
And what's the membership cost?
So the membership into the commission this year was I believe it was 9,200, 92.99. And then into the program, they prorated one of them, this year was roughly 83, I think it was. I can get you the exact amounts. I'm going off my head right now. But the collective costs, without them being prorated, it was roughly right around 18,000 total.
So what are the other costs involved then, from the 27,568 to the 18,000?
So, we do have some advertisement costs that come along. Then there was some additional dumpster costs. Some of the small quantity generators. I can't remember, we've only done one collection since we've made this transition. So there was, I can't remember, do you remember any of the other bills that came in? Because they got mixed in with some of the, we had residual bills coming in this year from the other program. So there was overlap this year, so, we're not 100% on, we haven't been one full year through operation, so we don't really have a hard number. I do know that we operated this year and was able to cover the overlap between the two. So we were hard pressed to cut money uncertain, but at the same time, there was no need to increase it either.
So it's roughly 18,000 of the fixed cost in quotation fingers?
Yeah,
And then the other 9,000 is miscellaneous? I hate to use that word, but.
yeah. It's unforeseen, well, they're not unforeseen, but they're incidental costs to the actual collection days. They're supposed to be bumping up our collections here for the Lakes region to 2. They only did 1 this year because we made the swap mid-year. There are additional, like I said, dumpster fees. There are additional costs that we pay locally, like we employ, we have extra attendants that stand for those collections and we pay them out of our operating budget. We do bring in there is a lot of volunteer help, which obviously that doesn't cost anything, but they do have setup fees and things of that nature. But they do, our membership does provide the vast majority of the costs. And I do anticipate next year, and unfortunately it doesn't do any good right this second, but we'll have a better assessment of what this total year program is gonna cost, and probably will be a little less money. The Portator, that was an incidental charge.
I'll make a motion 20. This new software makes smaller fonts too. 27,568 for household hazardous waste.
It's all by design, Greg.
Yeah, I know, but
Smaller print, the smaller numbers, right?
we could make,
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's have it. Move on to interest short term.
This would be a really tough one. This budget, we never put any more money than $1 in it. We just keep the budget open. The reason for it is just for what it sounds like. It's tax anticipation note, a TAN. And basically that is in the event of a catastrophic event or state of emergency or cash revenue shortage affecting the general fund's ability to pay bills or payroll. So this would be some sort of this is a catastrophic contingency. So that the town has a line, it's recommended through the auditing process that we keep this open so that we have an expending avenue if we had to access emergency funds. But that would all have to be done through DRA approval, so.
I'll make a motion to approve 4723 interest on tax and revenue anticipation notes for $1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's have it. On to patriotic purposes.
Okay, patriotic purposes. This comes down to, first line is veterans, graves, flags. That's, flags and other, patriotic items that are that we use and replace at the cemeteries, level funded at 3. The big discussion is, fireworks. This year, as you know, we canceled the Old Home Day fireworks. We had no funding for them. Currently, under the default, we don't have enough funding for 4th of July either. We funded it through other lines in the budget. To actually fund both fireworks under the current contracts, it is $34,500. $34,500. That's 4th of July and Old Home Day. That was the proposal that went forward to the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen felt that's a lot of money for fireworks. and they decided they were gonna stay, without Old Home Week. I mean, without Old Home Weekend fireworks and just Fourth of July. But just Fourth of July is 22.5. So the board's proposal is to keep that line at 22.5 to cover Fourth of July and only Fourth of July. And then the rest of it is level funded. So that would take us from the default number of 13,940 to the Board of Selectmen's proposal, which is $23,690.
Ryan, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So does the 22.5 figure, would be that the contractor that would do the display, does that also cover any additional police or fire presence?
No.
Is there is there additional police and fire presence at fireworks?
There are,
Do you
absolutely.
have an estimated ballpark for?
For what, we
For the
did do
cost.
rough numbers, when the board was considering Old Home Week. And there's about an additional, I think we were at $3,800 in coverage.
So in addition, so actual cost closer to 30,000 maybe?
Yeah, there's a lot of resources used on Fourth of July.
Yeah, no,
Which I'm sure you've been there.
well, and I also know it's a big draw, and
It is.
I also know that sometime in the past, there have been volunteers, business folks that have paid partials. Does this include any
No,
contribution from the
No.
public?
no contribution from the
Is there
public.
a way to make that available to local businesses and other people?
I mean, we can, the town can operate in, we can't go out and actively solicit as the town for,
Yeah,
because we're not a nonprofit, we're
sure.
a municipality, it's just not, our practice. Certainly, we can put the information out there that we do not have the current funding. And that if, a private organization, wanted to inquire as to funding that or sponsoring it, we could do that, but we just couldn't make a big push. do that.
Right.
That's usually done through, like, if the Alton Business
the
Association
ABA,
or
whatever.
another nonprofit wanted to lobby on behalf of that event, that's usually how that takes place.
Because this strikes me as one item where the town would supply the services, the safety services.
Sure.
If the volunteers came forward
yeah.
with the budget.
And I will say that fireworks, obviously, as you know, have become big business.
Big-
And Fourth of July, to get the Fourth of July weekend, we have not been able to, I couldn't even shop services because I couldn't get one company
to-
that was even
get
willing
a
to do
contractor
Fourth
to
of
come and
July.
do the show,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you were at the last one. Yeah, it's just, they won't do it. And a lot of them won't shoot from the barge. The barge is another problem. Because we do a lake shoot, they have to pull a barge out and there's only so many companies that will even do anything on the water.
Which makes me wonder, should we switch back to home week for a display? But yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a longer discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to, the majority of the board, well, unanimously, the board felt that Fourth of July was, more important to the community.
Yeah.
Through their conversations with the public and everything else versus Old Home Week. For the long time, we didn't have Old Home Weekend. That recently came back not too long ago. So but Fourth of July has never been, not a thing. Not in 25 years, I'll tell you that much. I wasn't here before 25 years ago, but,
Not to mention
And we've
It's the
got the
big birthday.
250th.
yes.
the country this year.
Yeah, the 250. Yeah, it's this one.
It's gonna be a big one. It's kind of a, yeah. So,
I want them to have, the company to have 250 up in the sky in.
okay, so is that, because it's on the 4th of July, is that the difference in the cost of the fireworks show?
Oh, yes.
That's the extra 10,000 because it's on the 4th and not in
Well,
August?
that display is bigger on the 4th. They do offer more. It's a little more robust.
Mhm.
But it mainly is the placeholder for the day. You're paying for the time. Because there's only so many big companies, and a lot of them have been bought up. So this used to be Atlas, and they were bought up by Pyrotechnics now,
Right.
and they bought up a bunch of companies. And they have, once you get a 4th of July slot,
Mhm.
if you don't keep your contract going, you
you
lose
lo-
it
you lose it,
immediately. And
yeah.
they went, because I started shopping because I thought it was
Prudent.
an exorbitant amount of money. And every reply I got from any company I could find, and I was shopping outside the state of New Hampshire because there was only like 3 in the state of New Hampshire that were left. And they all said, we won't bid on the 4th of July slot because we're all booked.
Ryan, has anyone looked into drone displays versus fireworks?
No, not that I know of. I don't know anything about that, about the drone display. What are they? I've never seen one of those.
Yeah,
Is it more like the light things?
They're lights, but they're pretty amazing. If think of art in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thought. It really is something else.
Is
Not
it-
the same as fireworks, but it's pretty cool.
It could be made specific to all, I mean,
Sure. Yeah, I don't know of anybody that has a familiarity with that, I didn't, honestly, I didn't know there was a such thing until you just mentioned it, so. I do know the light,
Drones,
Wolfboro
like
has
light.
had done a couple of light shows across the lake.
Yeah.
There's a company that does laser lights, but that's not from a drone.
yeah, no, so drones, right, the small
What is it called?
remote drones, they're remote control, they do the
Drones, yeah, yeah.
flyovers for your realtor when you're selling something. They can be programmed to do all kinds of amazing, American flag turning into a water gazebo, turning. Yeah. I have no idea what they cost. I just know it's easier on the dogs and some of the veterans.
Good seed to plant for Old Home Weekend, too.
Well, most veterans are going deaf, so maybe it's just the dogs.
I don't know about you, but I get excited when the bangs go off.
Well, I'll make a motion on the line 4583 patriotic purposes for the amount of 23,690 be approved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Would abstain.
And one abstain?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you get that, Carol? Jill abstained.
Jill abstain.
Next up is streetlights.
Another pretty straightforward one. These are the streetlights that we pay for as a town and community. Everything from Eversource Co-op and Wolfboro Power, all areas of the town. This is, again, level funded at 33,500. It fluctuates a little bit from year to year. It's not always consistent. Has to do with what lights are out, what lights are not. And obviously, if we have lights that go out for a while before they're called in, because we don't always know when they're out until somebody says, hey, a light on the corner of School Street is out now. That's really how we find out. Or the co-op will call us for authorization to go repair, because we have to authorize all the repairs because we get billed for it. That's why you'd think you'd know what your electric bill is gonna be, same amount of streetlights every year, end after end. There's always a slight fluctuation. It's not crazy. It's a couple $1,000s here or there. So we level fund it. Some years we're good, we're a little under, some years we're a little over, and we just have to absorb it. But I don't think there's I can't, without just taking a guess and saying, well, maybe we added $2,000. I can't tell you we're really gonna need it or use it. I'd rather keep the budget tight with that and just absorb it if I have to.
how do you know what street light, what company is responsible for which street light?
It's whatever the pole, it's whoever owns the pole, and
An
that's
number or
those
something?
numbers with the letters on the poles. That tells us, and we know what areas of town are serviced by each place. So Wolfboro Power only comes up 28 north so far, then it cuts off, then the co-op takes back over. Eversource, we only have on the slight areas of, out towards Barnstead, Hollywood Beach in there. Out towards Half Moon Lake is where they sort of intersect. And then by far the bulk of the entire community is serviced by the co-op.
And obviously, poles that are state-owned, we don't pay for those, but I know that there are,
We are required to pay for any street light that's in the town of Alton.
really?
hmm
Because my husband loves to go point and say, that street light is out. And so he goes and he writes down the number and he calls, I don't know who he calls. and
They
then-
probably call the co-op, and then I get a voicemail on my phone up in my office from, this is the New Hampshire Co-op. We have a request to repair poll number such and such in there. Can you please call us back and authorize the replacement? That's probably what happens afterwards, but yeah, we pay for the lights. I don't think that the state doesn't bear any cost of, like the ones on Route 11 that light up our sidewalks. We still bear the cost of those. Because we have a total of, as you can see, we have an inventory of them, and we have 170 streetlights.
So if it's within the town of Alton, we're responsible regardless of,
But we have to agree to it. I mean, most of these streetlights were all negotiated by the town. Like over time, not recently, but over time, every time somebody lobbies, it's like street signs. Let's bring up the stop sign at Valley Road and Stockbridge.
Let's not.
I know you know that one, but like every time a sign or something like that, an issue like that comes
Yeah.
up, we have those come up a lot with streetlights.
Yeah.
Meaning, a person lives at a dangerous intersection and they're like, you know what, it's really dark. It would really help if we had it lit. The most recent one was, the streetlights the board had to make a decision about that were over, when we redid School Street. There was new streetlights that were put up over the parking in front of Alton Central School.
Yeah.
We ended up absorbing one of those. We should have passed that on to the school, but we couldn't. Now we're throwing stones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really what it is, unfortunately. It's like a lot of things, even though Route 11 runs right down through the middle of town and stuff, we bear the cost for a lot of things, like curbing, sidewalks, all that.
then I make a motion that we approve, budget number 4316 at 33,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. The welfare.
So welfare, the big discussion is, general assistance. So general assistance has been bumped. This was cut, a lot during, I think it was more towards the COVID era. I think we didn't have as much welfare during COVID because there was a lot of other resources out there. Well, those resources have since dried up and the economy or the cost of living has gone through the roof. We have a lot more welfare clients from town. But not to mention that, we have to really seriously readjust our rate caps because, our rate caps are still very low. Rent doesn't even cover half of what a normal rent is. So we need to adjust those rates because our assistance really isn't enough to assist anymore. But if you look at our existing costs right now, expenditures, we're already over for this year. And we haven't even got into the cold months yet. But we're gonna start getting more welfare clients coming in because they're gonna need heating assistance and fuel. And I will say that, by law, we are required to provide a welfare program and support it. So this is based on our analysis of the program, and Stacy up here in my office runs the welfare program. Carol is the welfare assistant, so she's involved in that as well and knows firsthand. I know Laura helps out a lot if they're not available because they're all on the second floor. So we see it more regularly than the downstairs as to what's coming in, what's happening, and there is definitely a trend because of the cost of everything. We do utilize other programs, other assistance that we have at our disposal that aren't included in this. And we do try to utilize that at any point in time. We do have the Heike Fund expenditures. The Heike Fund is a trust. Now, we can't utilize that for everything because that is specific to only assisting people over the age of 65 to remain in their home. And it's very specific because that was what the trust language is, and we can't go outside of that. So nobody under that age, nobody that is renting. It has to be for a senior. It was specific to help seniors in town stay in their home if they came on hard times or needed anything, so that their utilities, their bills stayed current, stay played. So this trust, not only the 5,000 that we have in here, that we can access the actual trust funds and exceed this as long as it meets the criteria. The other one we have at our disposal is the East Alton Fire Association had disbanded, and they had a fund, they had about $25,000 that they put into a welfare fund that we can use for any kind of welfare criteria. But we just have to, the funds are, we can only, is that interest only, or is that, I can't remember. Oh, thousand a year until it's depleted. I knew there was a cap on what we could use. We couldn't just utilize the whole fund. They wanted to draw out a little bit, so they do have a cap per year. But we can utilize that for any welfare need. Okay, so strike that. I told you should have sat at the table.
And it's always approached as a short-term
Yes,
solution.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think that's an important
Absolutely,
point to make.
and like she said, in particularly, it's those unique situations where somebody needs to get over the hurdle, but don't, in those situations, they don't usually qualify for welfare. You know what I mean?
Or by the time they actually saw it,
Right.
they'd already be out on the streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
I make a motion, 35,150 for welfare.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We have 4 sets of minutes from the end of last year's meetings given to us. And I think Ready wants to take them home and read them first and go through them. Approve them or go through them, that's up to you, or we can do it tonight.
Yeah, I do see one. It was me as the school board rep for all 3 of the meetings instead of Carol Locke. Yes. The 3 meetings from 24 are me. Thank you.
There may be a few things different because she said at the very last meeting, the video froze, and so she only heard voices. So there were no faces to go with who was talking, so she was kind of guessing at who was saying what. So if you see anything that should go to somebody else and it's
luckily she was saved because she said I did all the talking.
well, yeah, maybe.
I got bagged on
I
all
certainly-
week for that.
There's no way that I'm going to be able to go back and make correction, I mean, other than Christie's name, but there's no way I can remember exactly what happened. So, I'll make a motion that we approve all of the 2024 minutes as corrected with Christie's name on them, with the caveat that it is to the best of my recollection.
I'll second.
You're talking just the 2024 ones?
Yes.
Yes, I was just doing the 24s.
Favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, and Jill has to abstain.
She's a-
No, well, you got to say it though.
Oh, I guess So Jill abstained.
You abstain?
I wasn't present either, so I guess I have to abstain. Yeah, because I wasn't at these meetings. I think I came on in January, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was left.
Everybody else approved.
So, this meeting,
Well, and guess I'll make a motion to approve the September 10th, 2025 meeting minutes as presented.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other business?
Lean into the mic.
Did we get the 741,000 from FEMA?
Yes,
What did we do with it?
it's in the fund balance right now. It's in the fund balance right now. It got put into the fund balance
Is that the
because
real one or the fake one?
that's the fake one. No, we tried to offset the operating budget, but we went to default, so it got put back. But they're gonna try to utilize it again this year to offset the operating budget, but that money went to the general fund.
All right. So it's,
When it comes back in, it doesn't come back. Usually, it took us almost 2 years to get it back. So it goes to the general fund, and then the town has to vote on how to allocate it from there. So,
so will there be a warrant article?
yes, this year. There was one for 25, but we went to default, so it didn't get approved. But this year it will be even, more money.
All right. Thank you. I was just
Yep.
curious. Okay.
So when's our next meeting?
Next week.
Next Wednesday.
I was afraid I was going to get a whole week.
So you know what's gonna happen? Is you're gonna listen to every budget on Tuesday night, and on Wednesday night, you're gonna listen to them all over again.
It'll all be fresh then.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a
You're
snowstorm.
gonna lay awake at night and just hear my voice.
Well, it is the Halloween season.
Yeah,
party and all
absolutely.
that. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second. Already in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go. We have 2 meetings next week. We have one.